Morning, 6th grade. Welcome to Math Lesson 19. Hopefully you got your quiz done on the back side. You're ready to take notes on your back side. Hopefully you're also done with the front side, working with mixed numbers and improper fractions. You got the mental math done and you got the challenge problem done. We'll start the video by checking your answers. If you were in class, I'd say, hey, circle any ones you and I disagree on so that you can learn how to grade yourself and learn from your mistakes. I'm going to read across the rows. You were on the top switching to mixed numbers. Should be 2 1/2, 1 3/4, 2 2/5, 3 1/3, 7 1/2. Next row, 3, 1 3/8, 3 1/2, 5 1/4, 4 3/4. Now on the bottom, to make them improper, multiply and add. So you have 3 over 2, 8 over 3, 15 over 4, 5 over 2, 20 over 3, 11 over 4, 10 over 3, 9 over 2, 15 over 8, and 25 over 2. Your mental math section should have went like this. A, you added, you got $10. B, you divided, chop a zero, $1.20. C, you subtracted, 24 cents. D, multiplication, $2.24. E, subtraction, 375. F, I just do division. I divide by 2. You get 60. Inches to yards, there's 36 inches in 1 yard, so that's just 1 yard. You started with 4 dozen. Dozen is 12, so 4 times 12 is 48. Divide by 6 is 8 times 5, 40, plus 2, 42. Divide by 6, 7 times 7, 49, plus 1, 50. Divide by 2 is 25, minus 1 is 24. Divide by 2 is 12. Problem solving said this. The product of 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. Find 3 prime numbers whose product is 1,001. So what I did, 6th grade, is I listed my prime numbers, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, and it can go on and on. But they gave me 3 numbers that were 10, so I want the numbers that are closest to 10. So I picked, this is closest to 10, this is on the one side of it, this is on the other side of it. I have no idea what those numbers equal, but I'm going to find out. So I'm going to take 11 times 7, because I can do that in my head. 11 times 7 is 77, and I'm going to multiply it by 13. That gives me a 21, carry the 2. 21, 22, 23, add a 0 is 77. I have 1, 10, 10, 1001. And just like that, taking the 3 numbers that were closest to the 10s that they gave me an answer. So they don't want you taking stabs in the dark and saying, should I pick 3 and 23 or things like that? I wanted 3 numbers that were close to 10. And that's how you get that answer. Okay, lesson 19 today, we're working with perimeter. The lesson concept is 2 lines long. We got some practices to work along with it, and I'll try to give you some helpful hints, little shortcuts, and then we'll show where the math lesson is going to go from there. But your whole lesson says this. The distance around a polygon is the perimeter of the polygon. To find the perimeter of a polygon, we add the lengths of its side. So in your notes, guys, you're filling the blank from your yellow folder. Says, what's perimeter? It's the distance around a polygon. Remember, polygon are straight edges. So when we get to circles, we'll get a different name for that. But that's perimeter, distance around. I solve it through addition. We're going to learn today you can also solve it through multiplication instead of repeated addition. And then I gave you all kinds of helpful hints. And guys, I'll point out those helpful hints as we go to it. Okay, so number 1 says, the figure below is a rectangle. The 2 dimensions of the rectangle are called the length and the width. This rectangle is 3 centimeters long, 2 centimeters wide. What's the perimeter? So I'm over here with my rectangle. Now guys, you have 2 choices. Choice number 1 is I could say whatever's on the top is also on the bottom because it's a rectangle. So 3 on top means it's automatically a 3 on the bottom. 2 on the right means it's automatically a 2 on the left. And now perimeter says add the distance around. So 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 3 is 8, plus 2 is 10, and I get an answer of 10. Do not forget labels today, centimeters. Your other choice, guys, that you could do is you could add the length and the width. So I can take 3 plus 2, and I know that I actually have 2 widths and 2 lengths, so I can take my answer times 2 then. So you could add your 2 sides. 3 plus 2 is 5, times 2 is 10. Now, I like this way, guys, if it's bigger numbers. This might be easy to go 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2, but if these are bigger numbers, it might be easier to add the 2 numbers and then multiply by 2. Do whatever works best for you as long as you understand the concept of how it works. I also like this way because as we start doing perimeter backwards, this might start to make sense to us. Example 2 says, what is the perimeter of a regular hexagon? Two choices again. If it's regular, it means all the sides are the same. We got that last week. So 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. Now I can do 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 6. Or I could say hexagon is 6 sides. Each side is 8. 6 times 8 is 48. And my answer is millimeters. Okay? Think this one backwards now, guys. They're going to give you a problem that'll say, can you do this backwards? And I got to be able to go both directions. Number 3 says, find the perimeter of this polygon. All angles are right angles and dimensions are in feet. This is where you need your yellow folder, guys. In your yellow folder, I wrote, if you're missing the big number, add the 2 smaller pieces. If you're missing the smaller ones, you subtract the big from the smaller. What that means is this. I'm going to start here with my vertical lines. My vertical on the left is 11. My 2 verticals on the right have to add up to that on the left. So I'm missing this piece right here. I'm missing a smaller piece. So you subtract your 2 numbers. The numbers you subtract, guys, have to be going the same direction. So I pick my vertical numbers, 11 minus 5. That makes this a 6. Okay, I call this the big piece on the bottom. It's going horizontal. I have 1 horizontal number. I have 2 horizontal numbers. The 2 smaller ones add together to get you the big one. So 8 plus 4 is 12. Okay, now I have to go back and I have to add all these numbers together. 11 plus 12 is 23. Plus 5 is 28. Plus 4 is 32. Plus 6 is 38. Plus 8 is 46. And I get an answer of 46. My book said all measurements were in feet, so it's 46 feet. Okay, now guys, I call this shape an L shape. Even if you spin it in your head, it still looks like an L. What you can do for perimeter, which is a shortcut, guys, is what I try to draw here. If you take this horizontal line and move it up, and you take this vertical line and move it out, you are right back to problem number 1. You are simply figuring out the perimeter of a regular rectangle. These are rectangles if you just move those pieces. So you had 11 here, and you'd have to do 8 plus 4, 8 plus 4, and got 12 here. Now the other way to solve this, guys, when you know your total height and you know your total length, is add them together. 11 plus 12 is 23. You have a top, you need a bottom, so you have 2 of each one. Times 2 is 46. This might be a shortcut for you to figure out these missing pieces, or you need to remember. Lots of times what we do, though, is some 6-year-olds will take 11 minus 4. Notice, 11 is vertical, 4 is horizontal. Never mix the direction of those lines as they're going together. Example 4 is you're working backwards. The perimeter of a square is 48. How long is each side? The perimeter is 48. How many sides on a square? 4. I know they're all the same, so I simply take my answer of 48 and I divide it by 4. 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 twice. Each side is 12, 12, 12, and 12. So each side is 12 feet. They give you the perimeter of a hexagon, and they ask you the length of one side, divide by 6. Octagon, divide by 8. Triangle, divide by 3. So in my mind, guys, that's your ability to start to work some of these problems backwards. How can you prove that you know how to find perimeter? You know how to find perimeter by doing it what I call forwards. Add the sides together. The challenge will be, can I start working the sides backwards to get my answer? Turning it over, you have one more problem. It says, Isabel wants to fence some grazing land for her sheep. She made the sketch of her pasture. How many feet of wire fence does she need? So this is a quadrilateral, guys. We got a 4-sided shape. She says, here's the length of each side. I want to know total perimeter. It's a big addition problem. I just have to write it so that I can do the math. So I take my 4 numbers. I write them up and down. 0 plus 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 plus 7 is 12. Plus 5 is 17. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So I have a total of 777 feet. And you just add them all together. So that's perimeter. Okay? As they start to work through this, guys, they'll make those perimeter challenges more and more challenging. What they'll do is they'll give you a lot of them that look like this. And then they'll also start to give you problems that look like a rectangle, but they'll give you the perimeter and they'll give you a missing side. So instead of giving you this 2 right here, they'll say the perimeter is 10 and the width is 3, or the length, call that the length, is 3. Can you figure out what the width is? And you'll have to do this backwards. This is where I think this works out really good. Divide by 2, subtract the number they give you, and be able to work both directions. You'll see those problems in about a week or 2 into our assignment, where we'll start working some of those problems backwards. All right, we'll get set for the questions. Sixth grade, here we go on lesson 19. Into your answer key, you see the first one we have to do is number 2. It says the theater was full when the movie began. 76 people left before the movie ended. 124 people remain. So I don't know how many people were there when the movie began. I know that 76 left, and I know that I'm down to 124. So it would look like this for a math problem. I'm missing the first in subtraction. It turns into addition. So I have 124 plus 76. 10, 10, 1. Sorry, 1 and 1 is 2. It started with 200 people there watching the movie. Number 3, all ants have 6 legs. A scientist studying ants observed that each leg on every ant in her sample. If her sample had 84 ants, how many were there total? So there are 84 ants, and each ant has 6 legs. How many total legs is that? It's a multiplication problem. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 8 is 48. Plus 2 is 50. So there are a total of 504 legs. Number 4, the perimeter of a square is a function of the length of its side. Make a function table to show the perimeter of a square with lengths 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. So this was the function tables that we did, I think, out of lesson 16. This is lengths, and this is perimeter. They said, please use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the lengths are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To find the perimeter square, I take it times 4. So 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 4 is 20. Number 5, use words to write 187000000. So the first thing I do, guys, is count my commas. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm starting to write it in words like they ask. So the first thing I have is 18, and it's in the millions position, comma. Next number is 700, and it's in the thousands position. So I have 700,000. And there is no other number, so I'm done. 18,700,000. B says, please write an expanded notation. So I have 874, guys. Watch expanded notation. 8 times what position is it in? It's in the hundreds position, so it's 8 times 100. Plus 7, what position is it in? It's in the tens position, so it's times 10. Plus 4, what position is it in? In the 1. So notice the parentheses that we have there. That's expanded notation. Turn in your book, number 8. It says, write the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle, then find the perimeter of this rectangle. Okay, guys, perimeter is there are 2 lengths and there are 2 widths. So that's perimeter. 2 times the length plus 2 times W. What I was showing you on the board was 2. That's supposed to be an L. We'll just ignore that. I'll erase that for you because that's not looking good at all. And it's kind of confusing. Let's go back to do that the right way. You take the length, you add it to the width, boom, put that together, and then take your answer times 2. So 8 plus 6 is 14, and 14 times 2 equals 28. The label would be centimeters when they ask us what would the perimeter of that rectangle actually be. So formula. Many times the formula is written like that. This is a little bit of a shortcut to it. Then that's using that to get the answer. Number 11. It says classify which figure is not a polygon and write your reason for it. A is not because it's 3-dimensional. So I'm just going to write it's 3D. Polygons are 2-dimensional. So B is 1 and C is 1, guys. So A not because it's 3-dimensional. Good review. 14, the rule of this sequence is add 1/8. Find the 8th term of this sequence. Now, guys, you could keep that pattern going of 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, but what I'm going to do is this. I have 1/8, and I'm supposed to multiply it by 8. because I want the 8th number. I'm going to take my whole number and put it over 1. So 8 times 8 on the top is 8. 8 times 8 on the bottom is 8. 8 over 8 equals 1. That is the 8th number in that sequence. Number 15, missing an addition. Anytime I'm missing an addition, I solve it through subtraction. So 8,998 minus 1,547. Subtract 1, subtract 5, subtract 4, subtract 7. 7,451. Turning my answer key over. Number 16. Missing a number in multiplication. To solve it, I divide. $41.10 divided by 30. Okay, if you want to make it easier, guys, you can chop off a 0. The only challenge with chopping off a 0 is understanding that you have to move your decimal point. So this gets moved to here because you really divide by 10. So 3 goes into 4 once. I'm going to bring my decimal point straight up. That's 3. Subtract 1, bring down the 1. 3 goes into 11 3 times. That's 9. Subtract 2, bring down the 1. 3 goes into 21 7 times. So I have $1.37. So you got to be careful when you cross off the zeros, guys, that you make sure your decimal point is in the right spot and you get the right answer. Number 17, missing in multiplication is a division problem. So I'm going to have $7.36 being divided by 32 cents. Okay, in all reality, guys, we haven't really taught you this. They're kind of getting ahead of themselves. Over, up is what we're doing. 32 goes into 73 twice. That gives me a 4. 2 times 3 is 6. I subtract, can't, have to borrow 9. Bring down the 6. That goes in there 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9, and I'm done. So my answer is 23. It's not money, guys. It's saying take 32 cents 23 times to get $7.36. So my answer is just 23. Number 20. Number 20 says this. I have 3 7/8 minus 5/8. Subtract the top. 7 minus 5 is 2. The bottom stay the same. 3 minus nothing is 3. I cannot have 2/8, guys. I need to reduce. Divide both those numbers by 2. I get 1 and I get 4. Don't forget your 3, and you have 3 1/4. 21, I have 2/3 times 3/7. We've been practicing this. If the numbers are the same on the top, you can cross it out and leave a 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 7 is 7. That saves you from having to reduce. 24. I have 100,100 divided by 11. 11 goes into 109 times. That's 99. I subtract. I get a 1. I bring down a 1. 11 goes into 11 once. 11 goes into 0, 0. 11 goes into 0, 0. So I have 9,100. 29 says, what percent of a foot is a yard? I know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So if I have 1 foot, that's 1/3. As a percent, it needs to be memorized. 33 1/3%. I'll try to write that neater. Sorry, 33 1/3%. And last but not least, 30. It says, what is the perimeter of this hexagon? Now, 6, the nice thing about this one is they gave me the total. I'm going to call this the width, the up and down, and they gave me the total length. Now, if I remember my shortcut, guys, if they give you the totals, remember, this piece can go down here, and this piece can go up here, so it's a rectangle. So I add together. 10 plus 7 is 17, and I have 2 of those because the 10 is also down here and the 7 is also here. So I multiply them together, and I get 34. The label is inches. B says, how can you tell the figure at the right is a hexagon? What does a hexagon has? It has 6 sides. That's how I know it's a hexagon. Okay, so I don't know if this shortcut helps you. I like to work it and think it's a lot faster than doing the subtraction. If you were doing the subtraction, guys, you'd have had to go like this. I have a 7, that's vertical. I have a 4, that's vertical. That means this vertical is a 3 by subtraction. I had a 10, that's horizontal. I had a 6, that's horizontal. I subtract and get a 4. So you have way more math. If you can see that that's a rectangle, add those two, multiply by 2, done. Here you have to subtract once to get this 3, subtract again to get the 4, and then add 6 numbers to get the whole thing. Do what's easiest for you as far as these things are concerned, but we're going to get these kind of problems a lot, guys. 34 inches,